Okay. Yeah, there we go. All right. 'Cause we can edit this a little bit, Eric.
You just racing.
Okay. All right. He doesn't racing yet. No. All right. We're sitting up here at the Idaho International Race here in Boise, Idaho, and we found a guy wandering around the pits that we haven't seen in years, and that's Mr. Bruce Young. Bruce used
He was panhandling.
He's panhandling. And we cornered Bruce, and we want to turn him loose and get a little history of moto out of him. For those of you that don't know Bruce, he was with High Point in the very, very early days. And for those of you who don't know High Point, Bruce will explain what that was. Involved in introducing motocross to Northern California. And in the very early days of Hangtown, Bruce was right there at the start. So Bruce, why don't you just take it away and tell us a little bit about all that?
Well, in the early 70s, there was no motocross per se in Northern California except for the CMC, which was very limited, very, very limited. There was no rules, no regulations, no nothing. And I was involved with the Dirt Diggers, which ran Hangtown, which started in 1968, and then went on to where it is today, which is a multi-million-dollar operation. And High Point came along, they moved to the West Coast from the East Coast, and moved to a warehouse into Sacramento. I went to work for them. And that's how I met Eric and a lot of you folks.
This is AKA number 33.
33.
But during the early years, there was a development of a group of us out of the Dirt Diggers and other guys that were involved that wanted to create an actual motocross organization. They stepped up with District 36, started the new rules for motocross through the AMA. We wrote those rules, myself, Bill Longville, Willie Groom, in my house back in the 70s that we presented to the AMA. And the AMA current rules being used today for motocross started at my house. And basically, what you see there, they're a offshoot from CMC rules and some of the things we knew about. That's how it all started. District 36 didn't have any motocross in those days. We started a point program for these guys to race total plates.
Did all of that lead to Hangtown? Is that how you guys got that started?
Hangtown started really with a group of guys from Southern California that moved to Northern California. And 3 or 4 of them wanted to create an event up here similar to the original Mother Club in Southern California, the Dirt Diggers, which was called Hopetown, which was a long cross-country event. So they wanted something up here that our organization, Dirt Diggers North, could have, so that's how Hangtown started, and the name started. Basically, it was an offshoot from Placerville, California. And a group of 2 guys from Placerville, Mike McGowan and Ron Keeping, had been trail riding in a little village or a little piece of property not too far from town. And they met some of the Dirt Diggers. They took them over and went trail riding there. This was back in '68. And then it was decided to go ahead and put together an event, and that's where the first Hangtown started, was on Reeder's property about 10 miles out of Placerville.
When did you guys move to Plymouth?
Next year, following year. We had some land use problems in Placerville, wouldn't give us permits for the next following year, so then we had to find a new location, so then we found Plymouth, went out searching and found Plymouth. I don't remember the name of the guy that owned that ground there. That was a big gold mine, next gold mine. So that's where it started right there.
A great big sand pit.
Yep.
One of the great tracks.
Yeah.
Why did you eventually move to Prairie City?
Too many people. When we just made the decision to move, the final year there were so many spectators, so many people in Hangtown. The local sheriff's departments, highway patrol, and all the local political organization says we cannot allow this to happen again, so we had to go find some place.
Eric, did you ever ride at Plymouth Hangtown?
I did as a amateur, on amateur day. I didn't ride in the professional class. I didn't get a professional license until 1980, and Hangtown's first year out at Prairie City was 1979, I believe. So I was the second year out at Prairie City. In '79, I did participate at that event because they had a 4-stroke exhibition class. So I got to ride a kind of a one-off built 350 XO Honda, punched out all this great motor stuff and trick stuff, and got to ride that in the 4-stroke exhibition on the pro day. So that was a lot of fun.
Bruce, at High Point, I mean, High Point was there in the very beginning, And obviously we know Eric. He came through that little program that you guys had. Who were some of the other people? You had a who's who really of not only motocross but cross country and enduro.
Carl Crank. Carl Crank was an international rider, 6-day rider, ISDE. He rode motocross and short track. He competed in all kinds of things. Was a very famous rider out of there. John Cook rode out of there, the Speedway world champion. Magoo, world champion motocrosser. Daryl Schultz, motocross world champion. They all rode out of the High Point West. We supported me and hundreds of others.
Tons of local riders. The Jim Lesniewskis and all the local guys that ever came through
Ed Marcini.
Northern California. Myself, just man, I can't even remember all the guys that had High Point. Jimmy Ellis's and
Doug Beercam.
tons of them.
Bruce, what's been in all the years you've seen motocross? You know, what's the biggest change?
Money,
Yours?
both ways. There's now money involved. It's a lot more expensive to buy, to get involved. Purses are bigger, spectators, it's just more money, period.
Marketing
Marketing has totally changed. Everything's professional now.
Well, not everything.
Yeah, well,
If you go to one of these geezer races, it's still a little bit under the professional standards. But we have more fun.
it's more like what it was in the old days.
This is a race. This is a race you want to go to.